I've been kind of hesitant to do this video, but it looks like there's a new rule for Social Security to get your benefits. Not if you're already on benefits, but if you need help going forward in terms of you need to file for retirement benefits or disability benefits or survivor or Medicare, or if you have an overpayment or you're missing a check or whatever the case may be. This has been coming, and we've kind of know it. It's an unwritten new rule. The Social Security Administration isn't coming out with this new rule, but it's our new rule for the Social Security Administration going forward, unless something happens. And that is we're pretty much on our own. I've do a live Q&A, and I've already got a bunch of questions on the live Q&A. People want some help with retirement benefits and survivor benefits, how to get delayed retirement credits. So let's talk about this new rule, and then I'll see what I can do about helping everybody out there get the benefits. This will be about an hour video. Most of it, 50 minutes of it, will be question and answers. So Social Security has been at a 50-year low in terms of staffing. This has happened before DOGE and Elon Musk and the current administration. This has been going down for quite a while. And I've got a chart up here that shows this the staffing at Social Security has steadily gone down. Last time, a few months ago, was about 55,000. Now they've, just voluntold, as we used to say in the Marine Corps, to vacate the premises for several thousand other Social Security employees. And just at the same time, when baby boomers are retiring, about 11,000 people every single day turn 65. And they may need help with Medicare or filing for retirement benefits or whatever the case may be. And unfortunately, there's no one there at the Social Security Administration to help you out. This is not across the board. There's over 1,200 offices. If you are in an area where your office is still relatively intact, the doors are still open. The doors are still open on most offices. They haven't technically closed down that's my new webpage. Anyway, they haven't actually shut down an actual customer facing district office yet. But kind of behind the scenes, some of those offices are actually not able to help you. Number one, they don't have staff. And what a lot of people don't know, that's a kind of a trick way to kind of prevent you from getting your benefits, is Social Security offices are broken up into basically two different programs, Title II and Title 16. So when you go into a Social Security office, you have at the front windows, they're called customer service representatives. They're the kind of the generalists. They're the lowest paid, yet I would argue the hardest working people on Social Security. But anyway, they're generalists. They can't help you file for retirement claim and survivor benefits or Medicare or, initial Medicare at least, SSI or anything like that. You need to make an appointment and go see someone, as we used to call in the back. And that's either Title II or Title 16. Title II of the Social Security Act or Title 16 of the Social Security Act. I was a Title II claim specialist. That means I dealt with retirement benefits, survivor benefits, SSDI, Medicare. So maybe your local office is open, but maybe all the Title II people were vacated from the agency, and all there are SSI, Title 16. Those are the people that help with the welfare, the needs-based program that Social Security administers for low income, low resources. And they can't do retirement claims or survivor claims or anything like that. They just don't have the training. They can get the training, but it'll take about a year to train those people, cross-train those people. So this is the situation throughout the country. And if you're looking for help from the Social Security, again, you might get help from a particular office or you might not. And I'm getting live Q&As every single day, and people are just they're having to wait for months for a retirement claim. And I've taken hundreds of thousands of retirement claims. If you've got your proof and everything like that, you come in, talk to you for 15, 20, 30 minutes. If everything is good, then push the button, and by the time you walk out the building, your check essentially on the way. That's how easy it is if everything is correct. If you've got what's called scrambled earnings, your date of birth is wrong or something like that, then obviously that adds to it. Disability has always had to wait. When I was taking disability claims at that time, people used to say, 3 to 6 months, you'll get your decision. Now it's 6 to 9 months. Well, it was 6 to 9 months before DOGE took over Social Security. And now all bets are off. And that type of delay is now moving to retirement claims and survivor claims and filing for Medicare and all the rest of it. So you're really kind of on your own. And what kind of what there was a Washington Post article, and people, oh, Washington Post, why do you believe Washington Post? Anyway, this is I've contacted people have contacted me, Social Security employees, and they said this is 100% true. That so they point out that within parts of the Social Security Administration, the spending limit has for months left staffers unable to pay for phone bills, foreign language interpreters. So if you need an interpreter for Spanish or Chinese or Russian or whatever, they can't get foreign language interpreters, sign language interpreters. Each particular office has to pay for. They can't get basic office supplies. So one employee in an Indiana office said that a basic office supplies are running low, and managers have instructed staffers to ration paper and to avoid printing unless necessary. Some staffers have begun buying their own pens, but toner cartridges, the toner cartridges are a couple of $100s. Yeah, I don't think Social Security employees are going to buy their own toner cartridges anytime in the near future. So if you're going to go down to the local Social Security office, maybe you might want to bring a ream of paper, 8.5 by 11 paper down there, so you can definitely they can print off. And this is kind of the canary in the coal mine. In the old days, the coal miners used to take a canary down to the coal mine, and then if the gas got too bad, the canary would die before the people would, and so they would use that as an indicator, kind of like the old Van Halen, brown M&Ms, and for those who know that one. Anyway, so that's kind of the canary there. The very fact that Social Security offices, all the delays we hear about it across across the country, and the fact they can't even get paper now. So this is kind of a back end, a way to prevent people from getting Social Security benefits. So you're basically on your own. So you need to do your own research. And this is why I've done this channel. And my website is finally 50% up. There's a lot more to do. So if you need help, I've got it all broken down into retirement benefits. I'm going to be adding videos. Oh, it doesn't look like we've got it showing there. Okay, there we go. So just go into mygovexpert.com, and I'm going to be adding the videos there. And if you've got anything that you want added in there, make sure, go through there and see, oh, Ed forgot to address this issue. I maybe a little bit better explanation on this particular issue. Make sure you provide feedback there. And if you can support these are 100% free resources. And for instance, some of the calculators I've added in there, when to start benefits calculator. So you can click on that and put in there, and it'll give you a life expectancy and when you should start your Social Security benefit. Should you start it at 62, 65, 67, whatever the case may be. And you can calculate your retirement age there. Let's say March 2nd of 1961. Let's just throw that in there and calculate your full retirement age is 67 years old. And when are you going to reach that? It'll be April of 2028. So go in there and check out the website. It's all 100% free. You can support it looks like these buttons right here aren't working today, but this is it's about 50% done. I've got a lot more stuff to add to this, but I wanted to get it out there to get people as much help and information about all things Social Security, retirement benefits, survivor benefits, Medicare, and everything in kind of plain English. All right. So let's go ahead and get into some questions, and that way I can go back. We'll finish up after about an hour, and I'll go back and start adding more stuff to the website there. All right, let's see. I became disabled at 16 myself, so I can authoritatively state that yes, you need a lawyer for a disability hearing. Yes, Thomas, I would agree with that one. I personally, from my experience, in terms of getting a lawyer, someone mentioned that, to get anything, just get a lawyer across the board. Well, for disability, you can usually get a lawyer. I personally, if you want a lawyer, get a lawyer. But I personally, for the initial claim, if you're filing for disability, the initial claim or the appeal, the reconsideration, those are relatively easy. If you want to get a lawyer, get one. But I don't think you need one for the first or second one. If you get approved, you have to pay the lawyer 25% of back pay up to $9,200. And for the initial and the reconsideration, they'll just do basically the same thing you'll do. If you want to pay somebody, $9,200 to do that, then more power to you. But but Thomas is correct. Once you get into the disability hearing stage, that's the third level. So once you get into that third stage, then I would definitely get a lawyer. So there's four levels of appeal, and this is again on my website here. So you've got the first, you've got the initial case, obviously, and then you got a reconsideration, then you've got the hearing, and then if you get denied out by the administrative law judge, then you can go to the appeals council and then federal court and all the way to the Supreme Court, and then it gives you information on should you get a lawyer and all the rest of it. So, but everything else, somebody said, hey, if we're not going to get help with retirement benefits or survivor benefits, we ought to get a lawyer. Most lawyers won't do anything other than disability. And they're very selective in terms of helping with disability. If you ever have a disability and you want to file for Social Security disability benefits, the lawyer will ask you a bunch of questions. And what they're doing, and they're seeing whether your case is an easy slam dunky case, because they don't want to spend a whole bunch of time in something that might not, they're a business. They might not, get a profit from it. So, and that's one of the reasons lawyers, are able to advertise. If you use a lawyer, then you're, 300 times, a higher chance of being approved. Well, that's because they're selective in the cases they pick. So they get 10 people call and they don't take all 10 cases. They're like, oh, okay, these two look like they might get approved. And so the other 8 people, you're on your own. So if you're filing for retirement benefits or survivor benefits and you're not getting any help from Social Security, then a lawyer, it's not going to help you. I mean, if you, go pay a lawyer $10,000 to go down to walk with you down to the local Social Security office and, whatever, you have that power, obviously, but you have to pay them in advance. Unless you can get, if you need any help, there, American bar associations, or if you have a university or something like that, they usually have like a legal clinic that you can go to and may get some help and stuff like that. But for what we're talking about today, this kind of new rule about you're on your own, the number one thing you can do is obviously, make sure you educate yourself and make sure you're getting the right benefit at the right time. And number two is contact your politicians and say, this is completely unacceptable. You paid for that customer service. You paid for Social Security to answer the phone sooner than 3 hours. You paid for your disability case to be approved in a reasonable amount of time. You paid to get your survivor benefits approved in a reasonable amount of time. Politicians, Congress has that money that you paid into Social Security for all those decades. FICA Social Security, you paid into that money, and that was there for your retirement, disability, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, but also a portion of that is to get help when you need those benefits. And Congress is refusing to give that money to Social Security. And well, they kind of did, but DOJ intercepted it and said no. So reach out to your politicians and say, this is completely unacceptable. So, John, thank you, Dr. Weir, for all your updates and changes to Social Security. You're welcome. I am retired and also disabled at 69 years old. I wish I was able to work. I can barely take care of the house that I rent. Wow. Yeah. Remember, you're no longer on disability. Once you hit your full retirement age, your disability, Social Security disability benefits are switched over to regular retirement benefits, and now you're technically on retirement benefits. So, the check stays the same. Most people don't even know this switch. But the important thing for you, John, is don't worry about CDRs. When you were on disability a few years ago, you might have gotten those, continuing disability reviews. Don't worry about those because you're not on disability anymore. And, don't worry about limitations on work. Obviously, it sounds like you have physical limitations on working, but Social Security doesn't care if you work anymore because you're not on disability and you're past your full retirement age. So, hopefully you're able to do something and get better. Thomas, reason being, and now that this is just an observation from being in the system for 20 years, but I do believe that whatever level one begins Social Security at is the level that they keep up for the rest of their lives. Yes, Thomas is correct-ish. And this is all the people out there in social media that give Social Security advice that unfortunately never worked Social Security and they haven't gone through the 20,000 pages of policy. Thomas is correct if you continue to get those benefits. So let's say you file for benefits at 62 years old, and then you continue to get a check until you're 70. So your benefits at 70 will always be reduced at the 62-year-old level. You'll get COLA increases and increases if you continue to work and stuff like that. But once you're reduced, you're always reduced. You saw my little scare quotes there, right? Because this is what a lot of social media people out there on that say they're Social Security expert. And there's a company out there that gives that you take a couple of day online seminar, and you can get a little certificate that calls you a Social Security expert. It's funny. You got to pay them like $4,000. I ought to do that too. It's like, yeah, I'm going to charge $4,000 to give someone a diploma, and send them out there and cause trouble. But anyway, so, crazy. Anyway, so if you are 62 years old and you start your retirement benefits, but then you go back to work and you suspend your benefits or something like that, what happens is once you hit your full retirement age, your benefits are recalculated. So let's say you start your benefits 30 months early. Okay. So you're reduced by 30 months. And then after 10 months, you get bored. Like I went into retirement, I got bored after a week, and here I am. So after 10 months, you get bored and you go back to work, and you call Social Security and say, hey, I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to stop my benefits. So you stop your benefits. And then once you hit 67 years old, let's say your full retirement is 67, you restart your benefits. They're not going to reduce you by 30 months. They're going to look at it and say, yeah, your benefit amount is, reduced by 30 months, but you only took 10 months. So we'll recalculate it, and now you're going to get benefits based on a 10-month reduction for the rest of your life. So that's basically how that happens. And there's another thing. It's called voluntary delayed retirement credits. Before you hit your full retirement age, once you're getting close there, you can voluntarily suspend your benefits to get those delayed retirement credits, that 8% added every year up until you hit 70 years old. So Lori, WEP affected my Social Security as a permanent resident of Canada, but still U.S. citizen, and I have still not been compensated or had my full payment back. Okay, yeah, so they've done about 2/3 of of those calculations. They've done 2 million of those. They've given out $14 billion. I did a video on that a while ago, and a lot of comments out there. Ed, you're a liar. I didn't get a check. That's because you're not part of the non-covered this group of people, these 3 million people. But Lori, this sounds like you are, but you're one of the other 1/3 that they haven't done the calculations for whatever reason. So I would reach out to Social Security, and that's their official position, is that wait until April. If you don't get your recalculated in April, then call us up in May. So it's May. So you need to call them up and see what's going on there. Someone asks, what's the best way to prove disability? To provide your medical documentation. Well, I've done some videos on this, on tips, tricks, and secrets on getting approved for disability. But not even to provide your medical. Some people say provide your own medical records. I'm in the position that you don't. You tell Social Security, you're honest with Social Security, you tell them your situation, and then you give them your doctors and your the workers' comp place or the clinics or the hospitals you went to, when you went to them, why you went to them, what type of conditions or whatever like that, and they will reach out to those medical resources and get those medical documents directly. The reason I say you can if you want, but the reason I say don't bother getting all the medical records, because if you got hundreds of pages of medical records and you provide it to them, um, I hate to tell you, there's some people that edit those hundreds of pages and they take out pages that, are not beneficial to their case. So sometimes the agency that makes that decision says, well, I don't want to go through all hundreds of pages because they're not numbered anyway and they're from different places. So I'll just go ahead and request them again from the hospital and from the doctor. So you've just wasted a whole bunch of time getting, medical records. But yeah, you just have to go through there, and go through the process. Make sure you put everything in there. Um, does the reduction still apply at full retirement age if you are receiving SSDI? There is no reduction. If you're receiving SSDI, your benefits are not reduced. When you get SSDI, you're essentially getting what your benefit would be at your full retirement age. And people will say, no, I didn't get my benefit at my full retirement age. I got less. No, you did. But what people do is, let's say they file for disability at 60 years old. They get their disability benefits at 60. And then they look at their statement. They're on My Social Security, which I recommend everybody do. They look at their My Social Security statement and it says, hey, at your full retirement age at 67, you'll get, $2,000. And when this person get their benefits at 60, they only get $1,700. And they said, Ed just lied. He said I would get it. No, that's because your statement projects forward. So when you look at your statement at 60, it's saying, okay, we anticipate that you're going to continue working over the next 7 years until you hit your full retirement age. And so if you made $50,000 last year, we'll project that you're going to make $70 or $50,000 this year and next year and the year after. And then we'll use that as the calculation. And that's how we came up with the $2,000. But if you get disabled at 60, you don't have that $50,000 added in there anymore. So you get what basically is at your full retirement age. But your benefits are not reduced if you just file for Social Security disability benefits. So James Brown, I don't think it's that James Brown. I have a relative that just turned 19 with mental emotional problems that inhibits working. He has expenses, prescription bills that grandparents can't cover. How does he qualify for disability? Oh, James Brown, you are our hero for today, looking after a young relative. You are awesome, or any relative, looking after anybody. It's our heroes in the community are people that look out for other people. So thank you, James. All right. So 19 years old, there are child benefits. And if he has a parent that is receiving Social Security benefits in terms of retirement benefits, disability benefits, or a parent that passed away that's insured for Social Security, he is eligible to receive benefits under that person's record up until the age 18. But now he's 19. So you can get child benefits if you're under 18 years old, or if you became disabled before the age of 22. So if he can prove that he became disabled under the age of 22, he can get benefits off of the parents' records. So if the parents are deceased, receiving disability or retirement benefits, but he's living with his grandparents, if the parents are deceased or disabled, then he can get benefits from the grandparents if the grandparents are receiving benefits and providing half support. So that is if the parents themselves, his parents themselves, if they're deceased or disabled, then he can jump over and get benefits from the grandparents. Okay, that would be called disabled adult child benefits, and he'd have to prove that he's disabled before the age of 22. Okay, if not, then he can also file for what's called SSI disability, supplemental security income. It's a needs-based, low welfare-based program, low income, low resources. You don't have to pay into Social Security or anything like that, and that is called SSI he'd have to prove he's disabled, and he can have you or any other relative, grandparent, or something like that help him file for that. If he's unable to take care of his own, financial issues, then you or whoever can be assigned what's called the representative payee, and they will take a claim. And then you will essentially, be responsible, for his welfare and making sure those benefits go for his welfare. And if there's any issues, they will contact you if they're not able to, if he's not able to do it himself. So good luck with that, James. And check it out, Disabled Adult Child Benefits. And again, on my website, if you look in it, you go into family benefits there, and it has child benefits, gives you a little bit more detailed. Can my grandchild receive benefits? Who qualifies as a child? It goes through everything there. So, and then there's also child and care benefits. Might not be applicable in this situation, but yeah, definitely check that out. And good luck to you. Thanks, James. Thomas. Everyone, if you have a specific question, that does just email him. I did. He responded within 24 hours. No, please don't. I'm getting hundreds of emails. I just can't respond to them. So, no, please. So that's one of the reasons I built the website. Is to answer most of your questions there. And I do this live Q&A every day. But I also have Mai Jackson, who is recently retired, was asked to vacate the agency by Doge, and so she left the agency. Didn't want to, but she did. And now she is helping people with Social Security questions. So you can schedule an appointment with her. And I've got the link. We do charge for those. That's the only thing we charge for, to pay for, the website and all the rest of it. So, Ed, what is the criteria for spouse survivor to get DRCs? I was my FRA when collecting spouse benefits. Okay. So yeah, when you start your spouse benefits, that's not relevant to survivor DRCs, delayed retirement credits. A surviving spouse can get delayed retirement credits if the deceased spouse waited to collect benefits after their full retirement age. So, and living spouses. So if you're receiving benefits from someone that's still out there alive and kicking, current spouse or divorced spouse or something like that, you do not get delayed retirement credits for just a regular spouse. When that person passes, then surviving spouses do get those delayed retirement credits. So let's see. Mark, I have had Social Security since I was 62. My ex-wife just got his and she is 67. Can I get mine and half of hers? Okay, so you already got yours, so there's that start. So you have to start your own benefits before you can get spouse benefits. Spouse benefits, not surviving spouse benefits. But yeah, if it depends on the calculations, your benefit amount, your full benefit amount has to be less than her full benefit amount. So if that's the case, then yes, you can. And again, check out my website for the more details about, you're not currently married. It sounds like she's already filed. Even if she hasn't, as long as she's 62, you can file for benefits on her record. So what is the web address? mygovexpert.com, mygovexpert.com. And it is a work in progress. I think I'll never be done, but I'm about 50% done. I need to record some videos and put up there. But yeah, so when is the earliest can I get Medicare? If you are not receiving Social Security disability insurance or have Lou Gehrig's disease or end-stage renal disease or anything like that, if you're just talking about regular Medicare, 65 years old, which I think is wrong. There's actually, I've heard that there are some rumblings that they're wanting to maybe reduce the age for Medicare, which I would be 100% in agreement with. If you start your benefits at 60 or 62, then your Medicare should start at the same time. But anyway, So yeah, 65 years old. And do you need to sign up for it? It depends. All right. If you are currently receiving benefits, Social Security benefits, retirement benefits, spouse benefits, surviving spouse benefits, whatever the case may be, and then you're approaching your 65th birthday, then Social Security Medicare will sign you up for Medicare automatically, and they'll send you your card in the mail, the Part A and the Part B automatically. If you have health insurance from current work, yours or your spouse's current work, and your employer has 20 or more employees, then you can refuse Part B. Save yourself the $185. Just the, in the packet that you receive, it'll tell you how to refuse the Part B. So you can refuse the Part B. You have to keep Part A, but that's zero premium anyway. If you're not receiving Social Security benefits, then and you want to sign up for Medicare Part A or Part A and Part B, then you have to reach out to Social Security, go online, do it online, and then start your Medicare at 65. But then you also have to figure out how to cover all the gaps of Medicare. The big one is Part B. It's a 20% co-insurance. That means if you get a $100,000 Band-Aid, you have to pay $20,000 cash out of pocket. So Medicare supplement plan, always check out Medicare supplement plans first, the Plan N, Plan G, and then Medicare Advantage plans, and then Part D, prescription drug plans, and all the rest of it. And Chapter, who sponsors this Q&A, you can reach out to them, 100% free help. And you can call them up and say, hey, I'm good now, but in October, I'll probably need to change my plan for 2026. So put me on your list, and they can put you on your list. And if nothing else, that'll stop the anytime those Medicare people call you and start harassing you about Medicare, you just tell them, yep, I'm already scheduled. So then you can hang up on them, or hang up on them first, whatever. So Mark, I have had Social Security since 62. Oh, okay, I already answered that one. Tammy, I'm 61. I was approved for SSDI the end of April, and I just got a back pay check from the state disability. I mean, it's federal, but anyway, will I be able to keep some of that, or none of that? Oh, you got a separate check from the state disability. Oh, okay. So it really depends on what type of disability you're talking about. If that's a workers' comp, public disability benefits, that might offset your Social Security disability insurance, SSDI. So it really depends on the nature of that. So I would contact Social Security and make sure you tell them that, because eventually the computer systems will talk to each other, and then you don't want a nasty overpayment 6 months down the line. So I would call them up and say, hey, by the way, I just got this other disability payment. It's from the state, and they'll tell you exactly whether that offsets your SSDI or not. So Carlene, I got my Social Security card today in the mail, along with time to choose my plan. So it looks like I don't need to apply in June. I'll call Chapter tomorrow. Okay, perfect. Yep. All right. So you got everything all set up, Medicare card, everything. One of the things, unfortunately, a lot of people do is when they turn 65, everybody in the country, all the health insurance companies know that you're turning 65, because, they know everything. But anyway, so they send you all kinds of junk mail. And luckily for Tammy, she was able to weed it out, because at the same time you're receiving all this junk mail from people you don't want to contact, you also receive your Medicare package from Medicare, and with your Medicare cards in there. And some people get tired of the Medicare junk mail, and they just throw everything that says Medicare away. And sometimes they actually throw their Medicare cards away. But luckily, yep. No, Carlene, yes. So Carlene found it. So good. Um, does a disabled person have to have an online account? Nope. That is another thing social media people are doing out there to freak people out, is saying that, oh, you need an online account to get yada, yada, yada. No, the only reason you need an online account, mysocialsecurity.gov, is if you want to go into socialsecurity.gov and do stuff. If you want to go in there and change your address or direct deposit or get a 1099 or check your earnings record, then you need an account. But if you don't want to do any of that, you don't need an account. I'd recommend you get an account so you can check all that stuff. But if you don't want one, you don't want one. So, um, does Part A and B cost? Part A does not cost for most people, and there's some people that do pay for Part A, and those are the people that are not fully insured for Medicare. They didn't pay their 10 years, 40 quarters. But if you paid, then Part A is zero premium. Part B is $185. So, and if you're receiving Social Security benefits, they'll take that out of your Social Security check. If you're not, then you'll have to pay it on a monthly basis or quarterly basis. So, let's see here. Is it okay to do day trading with your previous investments while an SS disability? Yeah, that's your kind of investments. So it doesn't affect your Social Security disability because you put the D in there. If you're talking about SSI, the welfare-based program, yes, that does affect it. But SSDI, no, unless this is a business and you are a professional day trader and this is what you do as a business and you've set up your own company to day trade and stuff like that. So it's a fine line. It's just like people ask all the time, okay, I'm receiving disability benefits or retirement benefits, but I also have a B&B, or I also sold a house and stuff like that. Does that affect? Well, no. If you sold a house and you're a realtor, yes, but that's your business. So therefore that's income. But in your situation, no, it does not affect your disability benefits at all. So go for it. Is there any benefit to having Plan B? I'm a federal employee currently paying $128 a month. Okay, yeah. So it 100% depends on you. I know the post office, as last year, this year, they started that they require you to have Part A and Part B, but other federal agencies, I don't think they do. But I would reach out to OPM and confirm. But normally, your FEHB is good enough, so you're good. If OPM says you don't have to sign up for Part B, then you don't have to sign up for Part B. So. Good evening, Dr. Ed. Wanted to say thank you again for your knowledge. Got approved an initial filing using your guidance. Oh, awesome. Perfect. 4 months after phone interview, had current x-rays and MRI done by primary care physician. Awesome. And remember, M. Williams 55555, that don't thank me, thank our community here, because I'm just some idiot here talking for an hour every day. And it doesn't help anybody unless people like and subscribe and share and stuff like that. So someone liked and subscribed, and that's how you got to the channel and you got those insider tips, tricks, and secrets. So thank you, community, for helping her out, getting her benefits. Awesome. Awesome. Will my disability convert automatically to the typical Social Security? Yes, 100% automatic when you turn your full retirement age. Most people don't even notice. Again, your check stays the same, your payday stays the same, everything. So, but the reason people should know about it is because of those two changes, that there's no more CDRs, continued disability reviews, and no more work limitations. So that's why I did a video a few days ago or last week. And sometimes, yes, I agree. My thumbnails are a little clickbaity. That's what you got to do to kind of get through all the garbage out there. And I said 500,000 people will lose disability this year. And that is 100% correct. And the reason those 500,000 people will lose disability this year, they lose it every year, is because they're becoming 60, their full retirement age, and they lose disability and go to retirement. So I kind of had to do a shocking title to get people, and because there's a lot of people out there that come to live Q&A and they say, I'm 70 years old and I just got this offered a job by a friend, to just kind of hang out at her store and stuff like that. But I declined it because, I don't want to cause any troubles with disability and stuff. I'm like, you're 70 years old. You're not on disability. You're on retirement benefits. You can work and make $1 billion a month, and Social Security doesn't care. So there's a lot of people out there that can make their lives so much easier if they knew that. And above that, they would, stop sitting around stressing about, oh my gosh, are they going to cut off my CDR? Are they going to cut off my disability when am I going to get a continued disability review? Are they going to review me? And are they going to cut it off? You don't need to worry about that anymore. You're done. So I apologize for the sometimes, the crazy thumbnails, but there's so much noise out there. You got to get through the noise. So YOLO 2020. I'm 64, don't take Social Security, have medical through my employer. Will I be penalized if I don't start Medicare? Nope. If as long as you have health insurance through your employer, your current work, your employer has 20 or more employees, then you don't have to sign up for Medicare. You don't have to contact Social Security, 3 months before you turn 65. You don't have to tell them anything. But one thing is what some people do is if they are approaching 65, they sign up for Medicare Part A. And because it's zero premium, and why do they do that if they already have health insurance? Check your health insurance, your current health insurance. So like if you go to a hospital, maybe your current health insurance has a deductible. It's like $5,000 or something. Medicare Part A deductible is $1,676. It could be several times a year, but anyway, 1676. So you might save some money by having Part A in case something like that happens. And so that's what some people do. So, but if you don't want to, then more power to you. You don't have to do anything. And then once you stop working and stop having health insurance from current work, then you technically have 8 months to sign up for Medicare Part A and Part B at that time. And there's no penalties whatsoever. You just have to jump through a couple of hoops and provide some documentation, which guess what? I do have on my website there. You just click on the Medicare and the enrollment periods, and then it'll tell you enrolling after losing your job there, that you have to check to see if you qualify, get your forms ready. And I've got the link there to those. You need 40B and a 564, and then how do you submit them there? And then after you get all that, you need to check to see if your plan options, and you can reach out to Chapter and they can help you on that. So it walks you through the steps on how to sign up for Part A and Part B after you stop working with no penalties whatsoever, which is always a beautiful thing. Adele, I work and will be 65 in November. When do I apply? I want to work. Same situation for you. If you're currently working and you have health insurance from work, then you don't have to do anything. If you want to file for retirement benefits at 65 and the annual earnings limit is not an issue, then you can go ahead and start your Social Security benefits. But remember, $23,400 is the annual earnings limit for Social Security. And then guess what? These videos here, I'm working on these videos. So yeah, if you click to play there, nothing's going to play. I'm working on those, but you can actually calculate earnings impact. So you can put down there, hey, this is my date of birth. This is how much I'm going to make this year. And then it gives you, hey, what counts and what doesn't count. And then it'll tell you your full retirement age. And it'll also tell you, okay, you're over your annual, but you might be able to go ahead and use the monthly earnings test. So I've got quite a bit of different calculators in there. So when to start benefits, the when to start thing. Let's do a quick one here. Let's say 1961, and your PIAs, that's your full benefit amount, your benefit at your full benefit at your full retirement age. And let's say you're going to live to be 100 years, just to play around with it. So if your primary insurance amount was what I put in there, 2510, that means if you wait until 70, you get that 8% every year. So it's $3,112. And then this is tells you what the lifetime. This is the awesome thing. This is the thing that a lot of places charge you for, or they tell you, hey, if you download, if you give us your email address so we can harass you forever, we'll let you have access to this. But I don't play that. Homie don't play that. But anyway, so if you start your benefits at 62 over your life, that blue line, this is how much you're going to make over your life is $800,000. If you wait until 70, you're going to be waiting, that extra 5 years, but your benefit amount is going to be more. And, after 10 years or probably about 14 years, then, if you live till 84, then you probably should have waited till 70 to collect benefits. But we don't know what's going to happen, do we? So when you start benefits is 100% your decision. So let's see. I'm sorry for TikTok. I'm showing my on TikTok. Yeah, TikTok is strange. So go to my website or come into YouTube next time so I can show you my screens and what I'm looking at. I apologize to TikTok there, but anyway, TikTok is strange. I'm never sure whether it's going to be available one day or the other. So whatever. When can you get Medicaid card after being approved for SSD disability benefit in New Jersey? Okay. Medicaid is completely different. You can get that anytime. Well, depends on what Congress decides, I guess. But Medicaid is the welfare-based health insurance, and that is through the state of New Jersey. If you were talking about Medicare, you get Medicare after being on disability for 24 months. So after your 24th check from Social Security, then your Medicare will start. So, and be careful on that. There are some people that have been waiting for, disability for a year or 2 years to get their, approval. And then they finally get approved. And they said, okay, I just got approved, but now I got to wait 2 years to get my, Medicare. No, if you were approved and they retroactively paid you 2 years back, then that means those 2 years count as your Medicare waiting period. So there's people out there that are receiving disability benefits that actually have Medicare and they think they won't get it for another year or two, and they've got it. And they're avoiding going to the doctor or hospital because I don't have health insurance. I'm like, no, you do have health insurance, but they didn't realize they do. So yeah. Everyone on YouTube channel videos telling that getting a big, beautiful stimulus check. Yes, I did a video on that, and you can get a lot of views. Yeah, I draw the line at dishonest information. I kind of a little bit of hype, but with actual true information. The stimulus checks, yeah, as of now, they ain't coming. The Doge dividends, that was just some social media guys saying, hey, what would be a great idea if, those $2 trillion, savings that Doge gets, that the American people get 20% of it. And they're like, oh yeah, that's an interesting idea. And that was it. And then now there's videos every day about, here's the new status on the Doge dividend check. And yeah, come on. Yeah. Hi, Zachary. I worked for a year and made $1,400 the first month and then $200 per month after. They incorrectly said I made $1,400 every month. This made working cost me $100 a month. Is there a way to fix it? Okay, so are we talking about retirement benefits? Are we talking about disability? Are we talking about SSI? I guess it doesn't really matter if it sounds like it's a disability type thing, but anyway. So then you might have an overpayment or something. If it's retirement, then you have an underpayment. But anyway, I would reach out to them and say, hey, I didn't make 14. You'll have to provide your pay stubs, and then they'll put it into the system. What happens is you're probably talking about disability, SSDI or SSI, is that they found out you got $1,400 and then they just assume you're continuing to work until you tell them differently. So yeah, you need to contact them, but just telling them ain't going to help. You need to provide the actual pay stubs of that particular employer. So let's see. Danny, does SSI automatically roll over to retirement at 62, or do I need to do something turning 62 in September? Okay, SSI, that is the welfare-based program, supplemental security income. It doesn't automatically, but you're mandated to file for retirement benefits because SSI does not come out of the Social Security Trust Fund, Disability Trust Fund, or the Retirement Trust Fund. SSI comes out of general taxation. And so Social Security is charged with, making sure, those benefits, are paid to the correct people. And if when you're on SSI, if you have any other benefits out there available to you, you have to file for them. So if you're actually receiving SSI when you turn 62 years old, yes, you have to file for retirement benefits. And those benefits will offset your SSI benefits. Yes. Um, my great grandfather was a Welch coal miner in Colorado. Okay, so we talked about the canary in the coal line. Um, the brown I mentioned the brown M&Ms one too. That was Van Halen. They used to put in their contract when they played in venues that there's a bunch of hey that the security system should be set up like this, the electrical wires should be set up like this, so we don't kill ourselves. And then in the prep room, M&Ms, but we don't want any brown M&Ms. So when they went to a new venue, they walked into the green room there, and if they saw brown M&Ms, they immediately knew, like a canary in a coal mine, that whoever prepped the thing didn't pay attention to the details. So they might go out on stage and get electrocuted. So they're like, hey, you obviously didn't read the contract, the details of what we wanted. And that's an indication. So I always thought that was a good story. So look, Dr. Ed, it's a third level country with bringing paper in American offices. We became Russia. Yeah, yeah. But I think in Russia at the time, with our 8.5 by 11 was similar to their toilet paper or something. This is rough. That was the old that was the old thing, right? I got paid Estoya. Oh, okay, I'm not sure. What are your thoughts on Trump's executive order on prescription drugs? Um, certainly hope it happens. Yes, this is completely unsatisfactory that we pay way more than every other country in the world. And this is the second time he did this. He did this back in 2020. He passed an executive order, most favored nation status, and most favored nation status has interesting history. And, you know, John Jay or not John Jay, the open door policy in China. And anyway, most favored nation status. Interesting way to put it, but he didn't get any support from his party when he did that in 2020. The other party, Biden, passed the Inflation Reduction Act and took that momentum and ran with it. And that's how they got the ability to negotiate. Medicare got the ability to negotiate drug prices for at least 10 to start off with. Nobody on the other party supported that. But now he's doing it again. So we'll see if both parties jump on board. But I hope it happens. I hope it happens. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the Inflation Reduction Act also was if you're on Medicare, there's a limit to out-of-pocket expenses for prescription drugs, and that limit this year is $2,000. And so if you know anybody out there that's having a hard time paying that $2,000, there's also called the extra help with your Medicare prescription drug, also called the LIS, low income subsidy, that you can apply to at Social Security. It's a super, super easy application. And they might give you extra help with the prescription drugs, pay for some of your, co-pays and stuff like that. So if you know anybody having a hard time paying for prescriptions and receives Medicare, please tell them apply for the extra help. Call Social Security and apply for the extra help. If you're really having a hard time, then you can apply for Medicaid through the state. And if you get approved for Medicaid, then you're automatically also signed up for the extra help. And then you can get one of those Medicare Advantage plans, the dual eligible plans that have, the extra, bells and whistles. Maybe depends on your particular area. You can reach out to Chapter and they can see what's available in your area. Let's see, Karen. If I receive the child and care benefit, does that affect my ex-spouse's family maximum, or is it separate like IEDS benefits? Wow, Karen. She has a PhD in Social Security now. I like it. So child and care benefits. Yes, that is another thing on my website, child and care benefits. That is separately. Do I have, yeah, these benefits are subject to the family max benefit. So there is a family max, but it's only in that household. So it won't affect, there is no family max if it's outside of the household type thing. So all right. I need to make that a little bit clearer. Thanks for that. So the child in care family max. I don't think it was that clear on that one. So again, I'll be working on this website for another 20 years with y'all. We will be working on this website for the next 20 years. So I need your help. So please. I think I saw one of those Social Security sites that agents had done certificates. I did not use them, but others probably did. They shouldn't be able to do that. Yeah, yeah. I think it's also another Social Security retired employer, or I don't know if the person actually retired, but yeah, it's a 2-day seminar. And then they give you a cute little certificate that says, I'm an expert. And then they go out there and, they give a whole bunch of wrong information. To get to be a Social Security employee and actually take retirement claims or something like that, then you're in class for 8 hours a day for at least 3 months. And then for about a year or two after that, you're under basically full review. So every time you touch anything before you process a claim, it goes to a technical expert and they review it and make sure it's all good. And so, yeah, it takes a year or two to know what you're doing at Social Security. Yeah, and to do that in 2 days and then tell people to go out there and give people yeah. Don't let yourself be fooled. Trump and Musk are going to mess with Social Security until they break it, and their reply will be, "Oops." Yeah, yeah, and this has been the plan. This has been a plan since the 1980s. In my YouTube description, I have the plan that was written in the 1980s that says this is what we're going to do. We are going to destroy it, attack it, erode public trust in Social Security by calling it a Ponzi scheme, and the money was stolen. All these other, 20 million zombies are receiving Social Security checks, all that other BS, to destroy it, and that way it's easier to give it over to their buddies on Wall Street. So this is a very successful, multi-decade strategy that they've had. So, but we're going to make sure it's not successful for them. We're going to keep it. You're going to reach out to your politicians, please, please, please. Asking for a friend, another hero here. A. Martinez, thank you. His ex-wife passed away. Are those benefits from her a one-time payout? The only time you get a one-time payout is that terrible lump sum death benefit, $255. It's been $255 forever. But it doesn't go to an ex. Survivor benefits, if he was married to her, so this is a divorce type situation. If he was married to her for 10 years or longer, he could very well get survivor benefits if he's no longer married, or unless he remarried after 60 years old. So possibly he'll be able to get survivor benefits. So, and you can get survivor benefits. The earliest you can get survivor benefits is at 60 years old. So. Thank you for making me the daily hero. Very helpful. Yes, James, you are living in America. Yes, you are too awesome, James. We appreciate it. Yeah, there's so many people out there that need help. And unfortunately, the Social Security employees are awesome. Be nice to Social Security employees, unless they're rude. If they're rude, then please, yeah. The problem with the rude employees that I'm sure the district manager that runs that office knows, I like to get rid of that person, but but they adjudicate claims and they're good, but they've, terrible bedside manner. I'd rather get rid of that person, get a new person, but I can't hire a new person because there's no allocations to hire people. So I had people in my office that I'm like, oh, I'd like to get rid of that person. And as soon as the new allocation that we could get a new person, I'm like, bye. So so it's going to get worse. My husband will make $26.99 a month Social Security in November of this year at full retirement age. We have no other income. Will we have to pay taxes on that amount? Guess what? On my website, you can go in there, and it's just a link to, because I don't do taxes. I never work for the Social Security Administration. I never work for the IRS. So you can go into my website there, and it gives you the link. You go into retirement, go into taxation, and it just gives you the link. You just click on that, it goes to the IRS website, and then you answer some questions there, and it'll tell you whether you have to pay taxes on it. It depends on other income. So, all right, we are at an hour, and I like to keep these to an hour. Let me see if I can find anybody that I've never seen here before. I've worked my whole life. Unfortunately, I got in an accident that broke my neck. Oh my gosh, I'm 61. Does the amount change automatically, or do I call or leave it alone? I have Medicare too. Okay, so you are receiving disability benefits. You're 61 years old. You don't have to do anything. You've already got your Medicare. You're sounds like you're good there. Um, because you're receiving disability benefits, there's certain times in your life that you just have to check to see if there's anything else out there. Because you're at least 60 years old, if you're receiving disability benefits, you can also receive survivor benefits on top of that. One offsets the other, but you can also receive survivor benefits starting at 60, or you have married anybody that passed away. Once you hit 62, you're able to receive spouse benefits, spouse benefits from a current spouse or a divorced spouse. So check to see if you're entitled to any benefits there. Once you hit 65, then check to see if a Medicare supplement plan is better for you. And probably in your state, the only thing you could get was a Medicare Advantage plan, which is fine, but you probably couldn't get a Medicare supplement because in most states you can't on disability under 65. But once you hit 65, you can. So at 65, check to see if Medicare supplement is a better option for you. It really depends on your particular situation. And then once you hit your full retirement age, remember, you're no longer on disability benefits anymore. You are on regular retirement benefits. And remember, you can work. And, if you're able to, if you want to try it or anything like that, you can go into, again, my website there, go into the Social Security disability part, and I've got a work incentives guide there that you can download, and it goes into all the details. And there's even a calculator that you can go through there, and it tells you what the trial work period, and explains everything in, I would say, better, easy to understand English than the SSA.gov website. But anyway, there's that. And everything is a work in progress. So, all right, y'all take care. We're over our time. I appreciate everybody. And please, please, please take